Now that you have your first line ready, you want to create more lines that you've seen in Piet Mondrian's work. So we know he wouldn't just do horizontal, he would also sometimes do vertical, which would be straight up and down, or he'd do diagonal, and that could be slanted or leaning, but it can go either way and still be diagonal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try using a different tool. So if you don't have a ruler, you could use the edge of a book or a folder or something kind of thick like this folder here. If I place this here, it needs to be big enough to do a line on your paper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slide it around. I think I like it right there. So I'm going to hold this down, and I'm still holding it the way we talked about before, where I have my fingers spread. So then I trace along the edge here, and that should give me a nice straight line all the way down. So I need to make sure that as I do this, my line is touching one end of the paper all the way down to the other. So now I actually have 4 separate spaces, so I have 4 separate shapes. What I'll do next is I want to demonstrate that I know all 3 types of lines. Vertical is up and down, horizontal is sideways. Now I want to try diagonal, but I'm gonna try something a little different here. So I could use my ruler for that, I could use my folder for that. So if I'm back to my ruler, let's say I put the ruler here. Well, I notice this doesn't go all the way to the end of the paper. Well, I'm going to start here. So I'm holding my ruler with my fingers spread like we talked about. I'm starting here at the end of the paper, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to try stopping when it touches this line. My rule for where the line connects is it needs to make a new shape. So if I stop here and I don't go all the way to the end of the paper, does that make a new shape? Yes. The line touches another line, and we know when it closes off a piece of space like that, it creates shapes. So here, I actually have 2 large triangles. So what I want you to do is demonstrate all 3 types of lines, and then I want you to choose one last one. That's going to be your decision. I'm going to look at my painting, and I think for me, I think it needs to be a horizontal line. So I'm going to put my ruler here. I'm going to spread my fingers, and I'm going to go from here, but I don't think the line has to go all the way. I think it can stop here. So I've created 2 shapes by dividing that one with that line in the space. I didn't go all the way across, but I did touch another line, so it did make a shape. So you don't have to copy me. You're putting the lines where you want, but if I ask you which kind of line goes up and down, you should be able to tell me that's a vertical line that I made. If I ask you which one's a slanted line, you should be able to say that's a diagonal line. If you have one going straight across, you should be able to tell me that's horizontal, but you can choose where you put them.